Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today I wanted to do a variation of indifference. So this topic is bothered or unbothered. It's a choice. So, get to that in a second. It's beautiful. I don't know if you can see all the leaves on the ground. So these trees are going to be bare in another month or two. But fall is on its way. Well, it's officially here. Hope you're doing well. All right, so bothered or unbothered, it's a choice. And I'm talking about your response to symptoms. So many people, their default is fear, freak out, panic, depression, sadness, frustration, fighting it, trying to fix it. I just did a success story with a gentleman named Danny, young guy, 23, super smart. Intuitively, he gets it. Got over a year and a half of being bedbound, chronic fatigue, post-exertional malaise, body pains, head pains. So it's a great success. It should be out within the week. But he used the term that his goal was to be as unbothered as possible. In the language I've previously used, indifferent as possible. Now, indifferent sounds really tough. Unbothered might even sound a little bit more accessible. But I will tell you flat out, how you respond to symptoms is a choice. You can choose to be bothered and do all the, fearful, frustrating, fighting, angry, disgusted, depressed, all of that stuff. And I can assure you, that is not how we recover. Because all of those things do one thing really well. They convey to the brain, I'm in trouble, I'm in danger. And as we know, perceived danger is the cause of the symptoms, and it is absolutely directing whether or not the symptoms are going up or coming down. So if your symptoms are really high, evaluate, how bothered are you? Seriously. Are you bothered or authentically not bothered? Now, a lot of people say, how can I not be bothered, Dan? How can I not be bothered by this? It's horrible. I get it. Symptoms are really difficult. They're destructive. No, they're not. Not destructive. They can be disabling. This kid, year and a half of bedbound, couchbound. And I struggled a lot for 13 years. So I really do get how disturbing symptoms can be. But after 13 years, and now 14 years pain-free, none of those symptoms I ever experienced, as difficult as they were ever damaging or harmful to me. So I will tell you, the fastest way to get out of your symptoms is to be as unbothered as possible. It's another word for indifference. Indifference says, so what? Whatever, don't care. Don't give a crap, right? Unbothered. Oh, I have symptoms. Okay, unbothered, indifference, whatever word you like. But it is a choice, folks. It is a choice. Look, if you bend over and there's a sharp pain, you're going to say, ouch. What do you do next? Are you bothered? Are you going to go down that path of freaking out? Are you going to think about this stuff and be frustrated and predict a future of pain and symptoms and suffering? If you do, you're not doing yourself any favors. And by making the choice to be bothered consistently, unwittingly, you're making a choice to delay recovery and stay with your symptoms longer. A lot of people struggle with, of course I'm bothered, I don't know what's causing it. Well, then you better get your butt to the assessments and get clear. Look, clarity is job number one. What causes symptoms? Perceived danger. It's not always actual danger. Perceived, right? Do the assessments to make sure that's what's going on with you. Once you know that's what's going on with you, I really recommend you be as unbothered as possible. Now, it takes time, practice, a commitment to yourself to do what is productive and useful and leads you towards recovery, as opposed to allowing the default emotional response of freaking out, because nobody got better from freaking out. I don't know a single person that panicked enough, poof, symptoms went away. As a matter of fact, if your symptoms are really high, evaluate your response to your symptoms right now and leading up to this, whatever flare-up or high degree of symptoms. The higher the symptoms are, the more danger your brain is perceiving. And often that goes right back to your belief, your core belief, as to what's causing it. Do you have a nerve problem from surgery 10 years ago? Do you have neuropathy? Even though your symptoms behave like TMS, are you deciding that, yeah, it says TMS, but I've been told by my doctor I have X, Y, and Z? Medical diagnoses and labels do not matter. How your symptoms behave is the most important thing. So you get to decide how bothered you're going to be or how unbothered you're going to be. You get to decide what facts you're going to believe. Are you going to believe the doctor's opinions and their prognosis? Or are you going to believe the facts, which is your symptoms and your life experience says it's behaving like TMS? If you don't know what that looks like, go read and think about carefully the questions in the FIT assessment. Go look it up. Is this pdp.com? Read through the questions on the FIT assessment. If you have one true answer, you have TMS, you have perceived danger pain. But I want you to evaluate the questions and say, would this be true if I had a physical structural problem? And evaluate that and see how that applies to your life. These are facts based on your own personal experience. What a doctor says looking at an X-ray or an MRI doesn't matter. How are your symptoms behaving? How are they behaving? Because I have people say, well, the doctor told me this. Okay, that's their opinion. What's their proof? What's their proof? They don't have it. Doctors are supposed to come up with an answer. And if they don't have one for you, sometimes they make it up, right? And I joke, they went to MSU, making shit up university, right? But doctors are supposed to put down a diagnosis in their charts and in the insurance form. And if they don't have one, they will surmise and come up with the one that seems closest to the type of symptoms you have, even though he has or she has absolutely no proof that that is truly the case. So you don't have to buy into the doctor's diagnosis. If your symptoms behave like TMS, if your symptoms behave like perceived danger pain, that's what it is. So decide to accept that. That will help you greatly decide to be unbothered by symptoms, because if you recognize that perceived, not actual, perceived danger is creating symptoms and that applies to you, then why the heck do you actually care that your brain is sounding a false alarm? Your primary job should be to show your brain safety by being unbothered, by conveying messages of safety, by thinking and behaving as if you're okay, which you are, by the way. So, unbothered. There's your goal. Be as unbothered as often as possible. It's a choice. Don't choose to be bothered, because you are delaying your recovery if you do. I'm not saying this to blame anybody or judge anybody or criticize anybody, but there are some people, and if I'm talking to you, you're your own worst enemy, because you are continuing to choose panic, freak out, depression, despair, and all the danger responses. So, I love you, and I show up every day to try to help you shift your perspective on all this stuff. You can get well. You will get well. And so, I love you. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. be unbothered. It's a choice.